What's up everyone, I'm Skratch, welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Let me know in the comments down below how is your day going. Sending some positive vibes your way, guys. And in today's video, we're gonna talk about the top 5 best clan boss damage dealers from each rarity. 2023, almost the end of 2023, we got a bunch of new champions. As usual, every single month we have, I don't know, 5-10 new champions coming to the game, and it's time to see if anything really changed. Did we receive any high quality champions that are amazing in clan boss, right? Very, very important to know that, because clan boss is one of the most important areas of content for everyone, just for the simple fact that it yields the best rewards. So let's start with the rare heroes, guys. I do want to give a big shout out first to one uncommon hero. We used to have him in some teams long time ago. Now it's pretty hard to recommend to anyone to use this champion, but that was Outlaw Monk. He was actually placing 2 5% poison debuffs on the target for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So think about it like this. 3 years ago, we barely had any poisoners, was much harder to get champions, and you know what? He was actually a viable option for a lot of people. Now, 2023, there are rares, tons of epics that are working in clan boss, unlike 3 years ago, so I cannot suggest you to build him, but I just wanted to mention him because it just clicked in my head right now. We just have a brand new addition, guys, that was released with the last fusion, and that is Petrifia Rockroot. Okay, and she's kind of like the new Frozen Banshee, or at least that's what the people are saying about her. Fairly decent stats for a rare champion. With the A1, she has a chance to land defense down. If the target is under poison sensitivity, she has a chance to land the bigger version of defense down. And it's actually not bad. She has a 35% chance to do it with each hit. So that's a double hit. A fairly good chance you can increase that with masteries. Then on the A2, this is an AoE and attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit has a chance to land decrease attack, the smaller version. The second hit has a chance to place 5% poison debuff for 2 turns, 1 poison. So that's pretty decent. Now the A3 is actually much better because it attacks 3 times at random. When you're in clan boss, it's very likely to only hit the same target, right? Each hit will have, with the skill fully booked, a 40% chance of placing a poison sensitivity. With masteries will go to 45%. And of course, if all hits land on the same target, also places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Now this is on a 4-turn cooldown. I personally do not think that she's better than Frozen Banshee, honestly. I feel like she's quite far off from Frozen Banshee, just for the simple fact that is one poison here, the other one is not 100% chance, and you can't really justify it, to be like she's better. But the defense down on the A1 is a very nice touch, which will enable you to basically run her alone without needing a different one to land the defense down. And you do have a smaller version of decrease attack, which is very helpful. And you have accuracy aura in all battles. Then let's actually go over to Frozen Banshee, since we are on the topic of these 2 heroes. So with the A1, attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit will have fully booked 100% chance to land a 5% poison debuff if the target is under a poison sensitivity. You're not gonna use the A2 in clan boss whatsoever, and the A3, poison sensitivity for 2 turns. And the whole idea is, this is on a 3-turn cooldown, you open with this, then you're spraying the A1. It's very nice to have counter attack on the team, ally attack, or have counter attack accessories on Frozen Banshee, retaliation sets, because if she doesn't get to use the A1 a lot while the poison sensitivity is on the boss, she's not gonna land poisons, and then her damage will feel a bit more underwhelming. Frozen Banshee, when she was released, guys, she was at the very top. She was literally able to compete with legendary champions in terms of damage. That's how good she was for clan boss. Now, of course, power creep happened, a lot of new champions added to the game and stuff like that, but she's actually a very solid one. And she has an accuracy aura for all battles as well. The next champion on my list as one of the top 5 DPS champions, since we are on the same faction, let me not bring you back again to this page. Corpulent Cadaver. Now he only works on the Infinity comp, and honestly, He's not a rare champion, he's a mythical champion, especially now with the Hydra. Now, they actually announced that they will change his skill. They will change something about him, but they haven't mentioned what. So I'm very curious, very, very curious to know how they're gonna change him for the Hydra clan boss, you know? But the whole idea is you don't use the A2, you don't use the A3 either. The passive doesn't matter. The way you build him in terms of stats doesn't matter. He can have whatever trash stats you guys want. No crit rate, no crit damage, no accuracy, no attack. All that matters is the damage is equal to 30% of the value of the shield, okay? And that is just crazy because the bigger the shield, the more damage you're doing. And that's why Brogni enables him to deal so much damage. And you don't need any stats on him whatsoever. Literally, that's how crazy it is with Corporal and Cadaver. The next champion, guys, is gonna be no one else but Coldheart, in my opinion. Not only that she brings you the enemy max HP, but she does bring poisons too. Now, let me just say it in the following way. When I started playing this game, roughly 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, if you are having a Coldheart and a Tyrell in a clan boss team, you are a god, okay? You are literally a god with those two champions. Now, it took me a long time to get my first Coldheart, and everybody was running her, man. Enemy max HP, even though it's capped, she was still doing pretty good damage. Giant Slayer on the A1, which has a chance to bring a lot of damage, and poisons with the A2. Places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a heal reduction. So Coldheart, even now, after all this time, she's still a top 5 DPS rare hero for clan boss. Crazy that nobody actually replaces her in the top 5, man. It's nuts, actually. And the next champion that we have on, guys, is gonna be no one else but Kayle. Now, keep in mind, when you are building these sort of champions, most probably will be more beneficial in unkillable teams. But you know what? They can work on regular teams too. And that's how they used to work back in the day in regular teams. We used to give them defense too. That was the whole advantage of having a poisoner over a raw DPS champion. Because they don't need to have full crit rate and crit damage to bring damage. The poisons are doing the work, you know? So you can tank them up and get damage out of them like that. So I used Kayle for quite a while. Has a chance to land a small version of poison with the A1, but it's a 100% chance, which is pretty nice. This is a decent damage, but the main thing that was good on him was this skill right here. Attacks 4 times at random and has a 50% chance to land a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. With Mastery is a 55% on a 4-turn cooldown, and this was actually bringing in a lot of damage. Now, honestly, I don't think that there is another rare champion to out damage these 5. I don't think there is any other one. Let me know if you think I missed anyone or I overlooked somebody. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts as well, guys. Let's move over to the next rarity, and you know what? We're gonna do legendaries, then we're gonna do the epics. So in terms of legendaries, I feel like not much changed, okay? I'm not gonna do mythical, of course, because it's pointless, but in terms of legendaries, it's gonna be Acrisia, guys. And the reason for it is that she doesn't need to have insane stats, okay? Ninja, with 8k attack and stuff, is gonna over damage an Acrisia. But generally, putting her in a regular team with the same stats like Ninja, Acrisia will get way more damage. And I've done that test before, guys, so keep that in mind. That's why I do think that Acrisia, in my opinion, she is the best out of all the legendaries. Enemy max HP on every single skill, and I'm just saying it on a general base, you know, because most of the people won't have 9k attack and 350 crit damage to put on their ninja. Most of the people don't even have a ninja anymore because he's an exclusive champion, so that should be it, you know. And there we go. Enemy max HP, enemy max HP, enemy max HP, crit rate aura in all battles. That's what makes this champion so freaking powerful. And honestly, she deals so much damage. Unkillable team, regular teams. I'm running Acrisia on a non-unkillable team, for example. That's my clan boss team. And even on unkillable ones, guys, on Relentless, she's absolutely smashing the clan boss. Now, I do want to give a massive shout out in here to Newt. He's not gonna make my top 5 as a DPS champion for clan boss, but my god, he is doing so much damage as well, guys. Attacks one enemy 3 times, enemy max HP hits with that skill, counter attack on himself with the A2, and the A1, a giant slayer. My god, he's gonna bring in a lot of damage, guys. So definitely don't sleep on him if you need a DPS champion for clan boss. But how I mentioned, the next one on my list is gonna be Ninja. Now, if you have that disgusting gear available on your account, Ninja will be one of the very top DPS champions, okay? Because he has this passive that will add a lot of attack and crit damage on himself. He's mainly used in unkillable teams, you know, and the hail burn is what deals insane damage. This would normally melt other bosses, but of course the clan boss works a bit differently, but deals so much damage. Like, you're seeing this skill, okay, dropping, I don't know, like 1.5 plus million damage when it's being used sometimes. It's just nuts once you're gonna start ramping the passive. He brings his own defense down, which is very, very nice. And yeah, this skill helping to decrease the cooldown of the A2 is even better. Now, another champion from here that deserves a massive shout out, actually 2 of them, because even though they haven't made my top 5, they're very, very powerful. Mishinaki, very similar with Ninja. He can ramp up a lot of damage, and not because his passive increases his defense, is because he joins attacks when the enemies are under hex. He has a chance to do it. HP burn, and he brings defense down, decrease attack, he brings the hex. So much damage. I feel I've done an unkillable team with him when they released the champion, and I reached around 100 million damage just with this champion alone. True, we went over the 50 turn limit that unkillable teams have, and that's why I haven't put him in top 5, but definitely a very, very powerful champion, and I'm loving him in Hydra. I feel like everybody loves him in Hydra. Harima, very similar with Ninja, can deal a lot of damage because of this skill. So again, another champion that can ramp up a lot of damage in the right team. But the next one that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be Jintoro, and we're not going in a specific order. I don't think he's number 3 overall, just because we are at this faction. I don't want to go back and forward with skipping pages. But Jintoro, he's very powerful on teams that go on a 2-to-1 ratio, guys, because the more he's using this skill right here, the more damage he's gonna deal. Now, I've seen, if I'm not mistaken, I think Seth did a video on a team with Jintoro, Amic, Seeker, where he's constantly using this skill, and he brings in so much damage, like insane. So if you have him in the right setup, maybe decrease some cooldowns so he can use this skill as often as possible, he'll be ramping up insane damage. Like this one, when it activates and will attack 5 times instead of 1 on every 4th use of this skill, he drops 1 to 1.5, even more damage, 1.5 million, sorry, depending on what build you have on him. Attack aura for all battles, which is very beneficial. This skill decreases the cooldown of the A3, and the A1 is doing a decent job too, you know. Brings the defense down and weaken, which is very, very useful. Now, the next one that is number 3 on the list, guys, is still the good old Turvold. And who would have thought that Turvold will become one of the most powerful arena champions in Raid Shadow Legends? It's crazy, right? Just thinking about it. The Juggernaut is his special movement. If you have a lot of buffs on him, he works much better in teams with Demeter, where you're increasing the duration of buffs, Cardial teams, where you have a lot of buffs, and this skill right here, he can hit up to like 800k per hit. And I've seen him doing that on my Ultra Nightmare team. Very stupid damage with the right amount of buffs. Of course, my build is pretty disgusting on him. It's nice that he brings his own buffs, increase crit rate, increase attack, increase speed. Sometimes you might not even want to use this if you have all the buffs on him. Like if you don't need the increase speed, increase attack, just to kind of like keep him going, is actually pretty damn disgusting. And the A1 hits very hard. Roughly with both of the hits, you're gonna get around 500k if they have defense down and weaken on the clan boss, and you have good stats, you know. Plus he brings you the weaken, which is very, very nice. The next one that we have on the list, guys, and this one is a bit more controversial because you do need to have the right team for him. And you know what? He's still he's still a top 5 clan boss champion, which is just crazy after all this time. Lord Shazar. And no, it's not about the bombs. It's not about his A2. It's all about his A1. So the more debuffs you have on the boss, the more damage you're gonna get with this champion. And the whole idea is you wanna have debuffs. You wanna use him in a team where you can fill the debuff bar with poisons or defense down, weaken, and many other debuffs. And he's gonna hit a lot of damage with the A1. That's the whole thing that you're using on him. Only the basic skill, nothing else. And most of the times when I was comparing them in tests, he was very close to dealing equal damage with Turvold. Sometimes was actually out damaging Turvold, you know, which is nuts. Now, of course, his spirit affinity, so that will affect different affinities. His bombs are doing decent damage too, but I've never really tried the bombs in clan boss. They're not really efficient in clan boss. I do want to give a massive shout out to this hero as well. Everybody can get him for free. Similar with Ninja, and he ramps a lot of damage. Not as much as the other ones. In some cases, he does deal more than Jintoro. But again, it's all about the teams that you're running with them, you know. And that's Val the Destroyer. This passive right here, what is it? Increases this champion's attack by 10% each time they use an active skill. Stacks up to 100%. And this one ignores defense, deals pretty good damage. This one is AoE with the chance to land weaken and decrease attack. And the A1, pretty good damage too. And he ramps up a lot of damage, man. Let's actually check the reviews. Look at that. Whoever rated him 3.3 in Demon Lord, they have no clue on how to use the champion. Honestly, this is such a low rating for a champion like this. He's definitely a 5-star in clan boss. But clearly these people that rated him like this, they never actually used him. So they didn't give him a chance to know what power he can have in clan boss. Let's move over to epics. We do have a bunch of other legendary champions that can deal pretty good damage, but hey, we're talking about top 5, and if I'm gonna continue talking about legendary champions, I'll be here till tomorrow morning, and you guys will be like, Skratch, you just did top 100 legendary champions in clan boss. And it's funny that Dracomorph is not making top 5 anymore, right? Like, Dracomorph used to be the GOAT in clan boss for such a long time, and look, he's not top 5 anymore. But he's definitely top 10. Now, moving over to the epics, guys. I'm going to start with my most favorite one, because this one, unlike the other epics, whenever I'm doing tests, I need to put him with legendary champions because he's too powerful for the epics, and that's Anax. He out-damages so many legendaries, it's crazy. With the A1, defense down. With the A2, poisons and decreased accuracy for 3 turns. And weaken with the A3 and so much raw damage. Amazing in unkillable teams. Now there is a trick with him. The passive can mess up your unkillable team. It really depends what unkillable team you're running. Very powerful on block damage teams, for example, because this will not affect you there, you know. But awesome champion. Moving over to the next one, I'm gonna have to give it to Geomancer, just for the simple fact that you can easily build him with rubbish stats and still get insane damage. Now, he works better on unkillable teams too, or on non-unkillable teams, mainly because of the passive. So this one right here, guys, will reflect back damage and has a chance to deal enemy max HP damage on the target when you have HP burn placed by this champion. Now, this is on a 3-turn cooldown. He places HP burn and weaken on a 3-turn cooldown. So as long as you're always keeping this up, you're going to ramp up a lot of damage. Now, when you're running Geomancer on a regular Void affinity, he's not performing that well, right? But once you're going on a different affinity, once the clan boss is under 50% HP, you're going to notice that your damage with that team increases by at least 30%. And the reason for it is because when the clan boss is using the AoE attacks, he's using multi-hits to hit on different affinities. And that will trigger his passive more often. That's why the damage increases so much. You can remove the increased attack from the clan boss if needed with this skill, or steal it, which will give you more damage if you build him with a bit of a crit rate and crit damage. And the A1 is AoE decrease accuracy, which is kind of like irrelevant in clan boss. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list, guys. That's gonna be no one else but Fane. And she's still a pretty good champion. Very good for unkillable teams. Defense down, weaken, poisons, decrease attack, fairly decent raw damage as well. And she is one of the best epics in the game when we're talking about unkillable teams, guys. For non-unkillable teams, she's pretty squishy, harder to use. So I wouldn't recommend you to use her unless you're planning to tank her up, basically, you know. But she does bring in a lot of work, enables a lot of predators and other teams like that to one-key clan boss without a problem. Moving over to the next one, this is one of my ultimate favorite epic champions in the entire game because he's so freaking amazing. He brings so many things. Tarakin the Fat Man, defense down with the A1, HP burn and poisons with the A2, ally attack, increased crit rate and increased crit damage with the A3, damage mitigation with the passive to keep him alive for a longer time, fairly decent stats. And not only that, he brings himself a lot of damage and the defense down, but the ally attack, the buffs that he's bringing for the rest of the team, they will increase the damage by so much in your team, man. And again, unkillable teams, non-unkillable teams, doesn't matter. He's gonna be spot on. He has a very good base defense for an epic champion, almost 1100. And this passive right here spreads the damage to the allies, which makes him a very good candidate for non-unkillable teams. Definitely keep him in mind. You're not going to regret it. Moving over to the next champion that we have on the list, guys, and I feel like this is the last one. This is the last one that we have on the list, and I'm gonna give it to Liburga. So you're gonna get this champion from the Doom Tower, Void Affinity. With the A1, she has a chance to put a poison debuff for 2 turns. With the A2, poison debuffs and poison sensitivity. With the A3, increased defense and increased attack. So she has support in her kit too, which is going to be beneficial for pretty much all your team, regardless if it's an unkillable or a non-unkillable. That's why the top 5 goes to her, because she's good in everything. And the passive, when attacked, has a 50% chance of increasing the duration of all poison debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. She actually brings in so much damage on the clan boss, man. And you know what? She's free. You do need to play the game for quite a bit to get her, but she's an amazing, amazing champion. Now, I do want to give a shout out to epic champions like Dark Kale, for example. He's a pretty good one for a clan boss too, you know, Dark Kale. Suiran, for example, from the Shadowkin. Very similar with Frozen Banshee, but she's not as powerful. She is underperforming in most of the cases, you know, and I can't find her. I feel like I'm half blind. There we go. Suiran right here. Occult Brawler, Powercraft, Phoenix, raw damage, unkillable teams. My god. Only use the A1. Only use the A1. Damage build, increase attack, debuffs on the boss, defense down and weaken, and he'll be doing so much damage that you're gonna be like, wow. But that was all for this video, guys. Let me know if you would add any other champions from each one of the rarities in the top 5. Which one of them is your most favorite champion out of all of them? Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.